Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Lord have mercy. Boom. Thursday night. I got the wrong nights on here. Good evening. Good evening. Lord. Look at Jay White. I have never seen someone be so excited for grabbing up somebody's old work. Jay White be hyped about them SWAC hires. No, but congratulations. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Thursday Night Live with SheLovesThee. We have a lot to talk about tonight. As you can see, Jay White must have been waiting in the wings because he wanted to brag about, of course, the hire of Grambling State's former head coach, Dante Jackson. We'll be talking about that, of course. Saturday's spring game is going to be canceled due to inclement weather. Prairie View rescheduled their spring game to tomorrow at 4:30 due to inclement weather. We'll take a look at the baseball and softball standings currently. Tonight's topic is, of course, we're going to talk about Black men enrolling in college at lower rates. Is it a misrepresentation of the data? We'll talk about that tonight. Because I don't know what's going on. I think what happens is you have these fake pages that really try to pit Black women and Black men against each other. And so it spread like wildfire, and a couple of negative comments about our young Black boys and everything. And so I wanted to just go over the data. Because it's definitely a misrepresentation. Now, are we saying that we don't need more mentorship for our young Black boys? No. Are we saying that there isn't a decline? No. But what we're going to do is look at the broader picture, which actually shows that men as a whole, including Black men, there's a decline, but it's not necessarily a decline as it is. There's a steady increase in women who decide to go to get their education, right? So we're going to have a great time tonight. Get your little petty in the chat. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Go ahead and share the live. Y'all don't be shy. Share the live. So let's start off with something that, I don't normally cover NAIA institutions. I do not necessarily have a wide amount of knowledge about the HBCUAC. I do know that they renamed last year. It's a HBCU conference in the NAIA. And so I just wanted to go ahead because we've been talking about movement. Welcome. There's been some movement. And we've been talking about possible movement in some of our FCS HBCU conferences. Of course, that would be the MEAC, not the SWAC. But I wanted to go ahead and read this particular article and acknowledge it. I'm going to actually drop it in the chat in case anybody wants to read on it themselves or learn more about the HBCUAC. I just thought it was interesting to acknowledge that this particular addition. The HBCUAC becomes the only HBCU conference to offer a men's soccer championship. That's very interesting. My son plays soccer, so pretty good too. Just keeping that in mind. So the HBCU Athletic Conference proudly announces the addition of y'all have to I'm apologize in advance for the pronunciation of this school. Huston-Tillotson. It could be Tillotson. Y'all tell me how to say it and what's the nickname. I think it's Huston-Tillotson. That's what I think it is. University and Paul Quinn College as full members effective July 1st, 2025. Both institutions will transition from the Red River Conference, bringing the total membership of the HBCUAC to 15 schools. This expansion marks a significant step in the conference's ongoing commitment to fostering competitive excellence and providing increased championship opportunities for its student athletes. We're thrilled to welcome Huston-Tillotson, I think it might be Tillotson, University and Paul Quinn College to the HBCU Athletic Conference. This said Commissioner Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes. Both institutions bring a rich tradition of athletic and academic excellence, and their addition strengthens our conference mission to elevate HBCU athletics while creating more opportunities for student athletes to compete at the highest levels. That let me see if you guys told me how to do it. Tillotson. Say it like Houston. Oh, okay. Huston-Tillotson. Got it. So HT, Huston-Tillotson. It's Houston without the O. Huston-Tillotson offers a robust athletic program featuring men and women's basketball, cross country, soccer, track and field, baseball, softball, and women's volleyball. Paul Quinn competes in men and women's basketball, cross country, soccer, track and field, and women's volleyball. Their inclusion not only enhances the level of competition within the conference, but also paves the way for the addition of men's and women's soccer as official HBCUAC championship sports. Joining the HBCUAC is a game changer for HT, said President Melville Wallace. This move elevates our athletic program, increases our recruiting power, and places our student athletes in a league where their talent and hard work will be seen and celebrated. It opens the door to strong rivalries, greater exposure, and the kind of competitive excellence that builds championships on and off the field. The Quinnite Nation is tremendously excited about joining the HBCUAC, said Paul Quinn President Michael Sorrell. We understood the conference's value and appeal from day one and are grateful to have been invited to join. The opportunity to continue our friendly rivalries with Wiley and HT, have our own streaming platform, and elevate our athletic programs on a national level represents the type of future we want for our students and community. So HT is located in Austin, Texas. Their nickname is the Rams. They were formerly in the Red River Athletic Conference, and they have 5 men's sports and 6 women's. It was established in 1875 and is Austin's first institution of higher learning. They're affiliated with the United Methodist Church, the United Church of Christ, the United Negro College Fund. HT is a co-educational college of liberal arts and sciences, operating jointly under the auspices of the American Missionary Association of the United Church of Christ. Paul Quinn is in Dallas, Texas. Okay, Texas. They have 4 men's sports and 5 women's. It's founded by the African Methodist Episcopal Church in 1872 in Austin. They relocated to Dallas in 1990, taking over Bishop College, becoming the only HBCU in the Dallas area. For more information on the HBCU Athletic Conference and its member institutions, visit HBCUAC.org. Let me name off the various schools that they have. Dillard University, or Dega. Okay, what are okay. Board. I just asked ChatGPT to name the 15 institutions. Y'all do not want to know what they said. Wiley College was also a founding member of the SWAC. Yes, and Dr. Hall said that her grandparents, I want to say, are a part of the original SWAC. Oh, Dr. Melva is a proud JSU grad who got her doctorate in higher ed. Okay, Dr. What I keep telling y'all, hire somebody from the I Love. Huston-Tillotson. I'm just going to say HT, Mr. Thomas. David, I'm going to just say, it says, did they spell the school incorrectly? Well, that would make it easier to pronounce if it's supposed to be Houston. But I wanted to just highlight that because, and the reason why I wanted to highlight it is because, last week we definitely were discussing HBCU conference movement, and baby, HBCUAC is on a roll. I want to say they've probably added more than 5 or 6 schools in the last year and a half, 2 years. They've been moving. They've definitely been moving. All right, let's see what we got next. I can go ahead and say it. Have y'all, okay. In the chat, I need you guys to go ahead and drop the emoji, either a tiger or a bulldog, which is, have you guys ever seen a bulldog beat a tiger? Have you ever seen it? Well, the Bulldogs beat Grambling by taking their coach away from them. Mind you, some of this stuff is kind of like, okay, we already knew this was happening. And when I say we knew it was happening, this is what I mean. There's somebody from Alabama A&M that was very vocal about getting Coach Jackson, I want to say the week of the tournament. He was like, hey, yeah, go ahead, come on over here. And so when the Alabama A&M coach wasn't immediately relieved of his duties, they was kind of like, what's going on? What's going on? Notice we ain't hear from Jay White when Alabama A&M lost to Jackson State. We ain't hear from Jay White when Alabama A&M lost first round in the tournament and Jackson State won. We ain't hear from Jay White. Jay White was the first thing smoking over here. He was up in there. See, that's what I'm saying. In the words of Irv Mulligan, I ain't never seen a bulldog beat a tiger. Well, it looks like they might have beat him today after announcing that Dante Jackson would be taking over as the head coach at Alabama A&M. This was something that was in the works for quite some time. Yeah. It was in the works for quite some time, which is why they were able to basically have the coach resign last week and then announce basically immediately, right? So I'm going to go ahead and read the AAMUsports.com press release, of course, welcoming Coach Jackson. Who hey Whitley. I'm like Mr. Ford. All right. So yes, Coach Jackson said, I'm out of here. See y'all later, Ruston, Louisiana, or Grambling, Louisiana. Alabama A&M University's president, Dr. Wims, and director of athletics, Dr. Paul Bryant, welcome new Alabama A&M head men's basketball coach, Dante Jackson, during an introductory press conference on Thursday afternoon. We welcome a coach with an outstanding resume, one that has won at the highest levels. He compiled a 263-win, 185 loss career record in 15 seasons, is a 3-time SWAC Coach of the Year honoree, guiding Grambling State to 3 regular season conference titles in 8 seasons, including a trip to the 2024 NCAA Division's men's basketball tournament, which of course we know that was last year, and they won their playing game. I'm incredibly thankful to Dr. Wims and Dr. Bryant for this opportunity. I'm excited to be on the Hill and look forward to bringing a winning culture to this outstanding institution. Jackson established himself as one of the best coaches in the conference during the first season at Grambling State, where he helped the program win its first SWAC regular season championship in nearly 30 years. Damn, 1988 to 1989 was the last season championship. During the regular season, Grambling enjoyed the nation's spotlight as being one of the teams in the NCAA Division I with the longest win streak, which got as high as 11 games before a loss to UAPB. Woo! Jackson, which saw the team finish at 17-14 overall and 13-5 in SWAC play, earned several accolades, including SWAC Coach of the Year, NABC District 23 Coach of the Year, and Benjo National Coach of the Year honor. So basically, it just talks about his tenure at Grambling State and how successful he was. It does say that the Tigers reached new highs under Jackson during the 2022-2023 campaign. Grambling defeated 2 Power 5 teams for the first time in school history. They won over Colorado and Vanderbilt. The Tigers won the SWAC regular season title and reached 2023 SWAC championship game. So he's seen some success as of late. I know this year, I don't know if it was a transfer portal or what, but when you convincingly win the tournament and then go to the NCAA tournament and then you win a play-in game, you would think that Grambling would be favored to win this year. And there's parity in the SWAC. Everybody wants to win. So with that being, have you ever seen a tiger turn into a bulldog? I guess we saw it today. Yeah. So, okay, coach. I would just like to say that I already had my source that he was going to be hired. I already knew about it. You know how folks be like, oh, we already knew. We were in the know. I just be being messy. I'm not going to actually say breaking. Such and such is scheduled to be hired as X, Y, and Z. I'm not getting ready to do that because, ADs and coaches can make last minute changes. So I just let the chips fall where they may in terms of, so I'll be messy and hint at it. I'm not going to make that announcement, but I was poking at a Grambling alum. It's probably been going on almost 2 weeks that he was going to lose his coach to Alabama A&M, allegedly. And so it finally happened. So congratulations to Coach Jackson. I don't think for a lot of people that it was a surprise. It was just more so a matter of when. And when Alabama A&M's head coach, former head coach, was still there, folks was kind of like, what's going on? What's going on? But they did go ahead and finally make that announcement. I will say this, in the words of Mr. Ford, what's up with these poverty wages? What's up with these poverty wages? See, Mr. Ford, he could actually already be in the chat. Sometimes he sits there for a little bit and then he'll say, drop the link. If Mr. Ford comes on, I don't pressure him. He just will say, drop the link. And then you'll know that it's Mr. Ford's time to cut up. All right. So now you're going to have to take this with a grain of salt. You're going to have to take it with a grain of salt because sometimes the folks, they be loud and wrong. They be so loud and wrong. But they did say that the going rate for an assistant football coach, special teams coordinator, is going at $40,000 to $45,000 a year. $45,000 a year, baby. You could have at least made it 55. Can you make it 55? Can we do some negotiating here? I don't know. Is the cost of living in Grambling and Ruston, do they have good cost of living? Because maybe if you have good cost of living, you can live off of that. I don't know. That's not a lot of money to relocate. All right. The head men's basketball coach, allegedly $235,000 a year. Now, they already have a possible replacement. Not necessarily saying that that person is interested, right? But his name has already came up. And I'm going to go ahead and pull his name up. And one of the reasons why getting a proven coach at the D2 level is good is because the pay that you're offering to this D2 coach is an elevation, right? Just like the pay to the to Coach Reggie Barlow from the UFL, whatever pay that they're paying at Tennessee State is higher, at least for the head coach. I don't know about the assistant coaches, but I know for sure that the pay that they're receiving at Tennessee State, Coach Barlow, is higher than what he was receiving at the UFL. So this is a possible replacement. I'm not trying to step on nobody's toes. I'm just going to put him on the radar. I'm going to read you his bio. And we're going to talk about the Langston University Lions. This is Chris Wright. Mr. Haynes, it ain't even been a week, and you over here talking about where your apology to MEAC is still up and running. It hasn't even been a week. Dang, look, Mr. Haynes and Mr. Thornton is back up in this chat talking about MEAC. So you can live off of 45 and 55 in Ruston, Grambling. The 100K plus people live in West Monroe or Shreveport, maybe even Old Landon, Arcadia, or Jones. So he's saying it's livable. It's livable. I'm just, it's grind and grit, right? And you have to have a love of the game. Dr. Hall says she's still in the portal. Here you go. Here you go. I got your. You can commit with this. When you do your commitment video, go ahead and put this on. My son is asleep, so I can use his stuff. Otherwise, he'll be like, "Mommy, why are you touching my Jackson State chain?" Oh, Not y'all trying to recruit her in the comments. That's good. So, okay. So these are livable wages. So this is just, I'm gonna just put them on your radar. It's my choice. I asked the Grambling alum what he thought. I'm gonna share. He basically called him out on Twitter, like, "Hey, you want to come down here?" So Chris Wright enters his third season as the head men's basketball at Langston University. So this is probably the 2023-2024 season saw the Lions post a 35-2 record, capped off by a trip to the he's not even in D2, he's in NAIA. NAIA National Championship game. Langston spent much of the season ranked number 2 in the national polls. For the second consecutive season, the Lions ran away with the Sooner Athletic Conference title by going 23-1 and winning the SAC Conference tournament. Wright was once again named the John Hudson SAC Coach of the Year after inheriting a program that went 1-27. Wright engineered the single best turnaround in history of college basketball. The Lions finished the season at 31-3 overall and climbed to number 3 in the national polls. The program became the first ever HBCU to win in the Sooner Athletic Conference regular season crown, along with capturing the SAC Conference Tournament Championship. Lions advanced to the NAIA Sweet 16 in Kansas City before falling to Georgetown College. Program boosted a 3.14 team GPA in the fall semester and was named a recipient of the NABC's Academic Excellence Awards. For his efforts in 2022-2023, Wright was named the John Hudson SAC Coach of the Year, NAIA National Coach of the Year by HoopDirt.com, as well as the Jack Bennett Man of the Year, which exemplifies winning with integrity. In 2 seasons at Langston, the program has seen 16 out of 16 seniors graduate. In his 11 years as head coach, Wright has compiled 242 wins and has proven that he can win at challenging places. It has also been noted that he recruited, coached, and developed 53 players that have played professionally overseas. Before arriving at Langston, Wright spent 4 years at Dega College as the head coach, building the Tornadoes into a perennial national power. Wright's team compiled a 106-25 record and reached the NAIA National Tournament in all 4 seasons. Okay, so he has a lot of experience and he's been winning. Overall, 277 wins, 105 losses. And in the past 5 years, he's been either first or second place. Well, with the exception of 2019, 2020, and with the exception of COVID-19, he's been in first or second place since 2017 to 2018. Langston was balling this past season. So it's always something. They dropped that championship jacket today. I forgot you on the Twitter fast. It's so dope. Oh, okay. So yeah. No HBCU football coach should make less than $100,000. When you say no HBCU football coach, are you talking about the assistant coaches as well? What your folks over there making at North Carolina Central, Johnny? I'm pretty sure not all the coaches are making $100,000. Like, where are they getting the money from? No. You know who is making some bread? Let me pull that up. Good Lord. They told me that Norfolk had some money, but they ain't tell me that they had money. Norfolk State got some money. they gave him a contract extension. Norfolk got some money, okay? If y'all don't think that Norfolk's not gonna take over, all right. Now you talking about they wanted to keep the coach. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all welcome Dre to the show. You just got here, Dre. You just got here, sir. Oh God, you just got here, Dre. Sir, you just got here. Lord have mercy. All right. Let me go back to what I was saying. Y'all, welcome Dre. Everybody say, hey, Dre. All right. Norfolk State basketball coach Robert Jones' new contract includes a 50% raise, boosting his salary to $305,000 plus incentives. Y'all, welcome Dre. So who been asking about Mr. Ford? Who was asking about Mr. Ford? All right. While Mr. Ford gets situated, let me read this real quick. Norfolk said, y'all not finna take our coach. Not only has Robert Jones won games at Norfolk State, he made the program significantly richer, and now at last the school has done the same for him. The Spartans' 8-year head coach will make $305,000 per year plus incentives, a part of the new 5-year contract extension that aims to keep him at the school through 2007 to 2028. The salary up from $203,000 under his old contract represents about a 50% raise. The new deal makes Jones the MEAC's second highest paid coach behind North Carolina Central's Lavelle Moton's $325,000 base salary. Jones led NSU to a share of the MEAC Northern Division regular season title, a league tournament championship, and the school's first NCAA tournament berth since 2012. The Spartan won a first 4 game against Appalachian State before following to top overall seed and eventual national runner-up Gonzaga in the first round. The tournament appearance and the victory will generate more than $2 million for NSU and the MEAC over the next 6 years. I'm coming, Mr. Ford. Jones, who is 142 to 119 overall and 92 to 32 in the MEAC in his career, was previously the league's 4th highest paid coach. In just what the times are, Jones said of the new contract obtained this week by the pilot from NSU via the Freedom of Information Act. You're paying for what the work is. I didn't give Norfolk State 4th place work before. I gave them 1st and 2nd place work. And now the president and the AD just gave me 1st and 2nd place compensation. Really? Jones had 2 years left in his previous deal, but they wanted to make sure that nobody snatch him up. We're excited about the future of Spartan basketball under his leadership. Leaving NSU after an NCAA tournament appearance would not have been unprecedented. After the 15th seeded Spartans upset 2nd seeded Missouri in the 2012 tournament, then head coach Anthony Evans departed for Florida International. Okay. How you doing, Mr. Ford?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Oh, Mr. Ford. You came in like a wrecking ball.
Huh?
You came in like a wrecking ball. We're just chopping it up before we talk about our main topic tonight, which is about the decline in Black men going to post-secondary college and whether or not it's a misrepresentation. There is someone in the chat that had a question for you.
Okay. What was it?
Okay. So do you want to make before we move to that question, do you want to make a comment on the contract extension and the amount of money that they paid Coach Jones, the Norfolk State men's basketball coach?
Well, I thought it was a good move. Right now, he might be the top HBCU basketball coach, and it's been that way for a while. He's done a great job. I thought it was a good move to lock him down. So he's going to be there until the extension was until what year?
I want to say 2028, 2029.
Yeah, that's a good move.
Yeah,
That's
he
a good
actually had 2 years left in his contract.
Okay.
It includes performance bonuses for a MEAC regular season title. He'll get $5,000. A league tournament championship, $10,000. An NCAA tournament win is $15,000. MEAC Coach of the Year honors for $2,500 and a national title, $100,000. So they went ahead and locked that down. He got paid. I didn't know Norfolk had money like that. They got money, Mr. Ford.
Yeah, he's done a great job. I enjoyed watching his career.
They could have possibly, I think they're going to hire a really good coach at Norfolk for on the women's side.
Yeah, didn't they get the guy from Coppin State?
I don't think they've officially announced it yet.
Okay, because I had heard the guy from Coppin State was going to get that job.
So that's what you said a couple weeks ago. You said that, but I haven't seen the official announcement yet.
Oh yeah, okay.
So we'll be waiting to hear that. But okay, so now let me ask that question. So Mr. Bradford would like to know. He wants you to talk about the CIAA when they tried to get all the HBCUs under one umbrella. He wants you to expound on that history.
Well, now I was told something this week that I wasn't aware of. And by the way, I want to tell you this too. Your show is expanding. There are a lot. I want you to keep working with the show and add as much as you can because there are a number of people are listening to you. I was, I don't know if you remember, I've made some statements about, we called him Slick. He was the president of Hampton. And I was told by a Hampton graduate, was it this week or last week? Maybe last week. They had heard me on there say that he spearheaded a move where he wanted all of the HBCU conferences to come together. And I think this had to be maybe in the 90s. And I was not aware of that, but I was told that he wanted to break them up into pods, kind of like, I talk about divisions. And that this was one of the ideas or the visions of Dr. William Harvey, who at the time was the president of Hampton. Now, as I stated, I didn't know about that, but I was told about that last week. As far as the CIAA trying to, read that again, you said the CIAA was trying to do what? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Somebody,
the CIAA wanted to combine under one umbrella. All the HBCUs under one umbrella. They just didn't have
this Hampton graduate told me last week that was one of the things Dr. William Harvey wanted to do. And I told him I wasn't aware of it. But and she went into details about how he talked about dividing it up into pods, and that he had talked about this maybe in the early 90s, but I didn't know about it. I didn't, I was basically in the learning mode and listening to it. Can you hear me?
I don't know what keeps me. Sorry. All right. So can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
so
I can hear you.
CIAA was originally founded in 1912. They did have
Right.
aspirations of being an all HBCU conference. However, over time, the CIAA expanded to include a broader range of schools. I think it had to do with like the amount of money that they had, the capital that they had.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm about to be messy because Dre brought it up. And I want to know, have you heard of it? Where is it at? What did Dre say? So, allegedly, well, I don't think it's alleged. North Carolina Central got hit with an audit for that reveals more than 45 million in errors.
What was that? I mean, recently, or when did this happen?
8 days ago, North Carolina auditor, the North Carolina Office of the State Auditor released a report, and it said that it released its financial statement audit, and it shows that North Carolina Central had over 45 million in financial reporting errors. Supplies and services expenses was overstated by 8.3 million because of losses from the disposal of capital assets were misclassified, which also understated other non-operating expenses by the same amount. Scholarships and fellowship expenses were understated by 1.2 million because revenues related to the UNC Systems Project Kitty Hawk partnership were not recorded correctly, which also understated state and local grants and contracts revenue by the same amount. Cash was overstated by 4.9 million. Federal grants and contracts were overstated by 3.7 million because of inaccurate journal entries. Restricted non-expendable net position was overstated by 2.6 million. Restricted expendable net position was overstated by 3.6 million. And unrestricted net position was understated by 6.2 million because of errors in calculations. Oh, wow. So I think it's just a matter of how you put things in the system. They over or understated it, and it caused $45 million worth of errors at North Carolina Central. What do you think about that, Mr. Ford?
I don't know. I don't know what to think. I'll be honest with you. I hope it's not true, and I hope that it can be rectified.
What do you mean you hope it's not true? This is North Carolina State Auditor's Office. They ain't finna lie. This is a state.
Yeah. If they do lie, it won't be the first time.
Oh, okay. That's true. I will say this. I will say this. Schools like Jackson State, Alcorn, and Valley, we can't make them type of mistakes in Mississippi. You cannot make those types of mistakes. Mississippi Auditor's Office, the governor, and everybody else is looking for a reason to say, oh, y'all stole some money. Y'all stole some money. Right. Oh, y'all didn't do what y'all had to do. Like, there's certain places, and Mississippi is one of them. We can't be making them type of mistakes.
Well,
so this is what I'll say about North Carolina. North Carolina, even though they've done some nefarious things to North Carolina A&T in terms of like fining them for having too many out-of-state students, and also they have that situation in Raleigh where they're trying to take over that land of the HBCU that's supposed to be closing. You know which one I'm talking about? The private institution in Raleigh, Durham.
What is that? Shaw and St. Aug?
It's St. Augustine. They had So they've been trying to take over that one. I will say, like, overall, there's not necessarily like a large attack on the HBCUs here. Outside of the fact that North Carolina A&T, they do attack them, but they're one of the fastest growing, one of the largest institutions. The attack is not like, oh, we're trying to shut down North Carolina Central. But what I will say is this. HBCU's got to be on their P's and Q's.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like, especially now, because they could misinterpret, misconstrue. It will only take for Elon Musk for him to go to Doge and somebody send him this article and he say, see, that's why you shouldn't give HBCUs grants or money, because they don't know how to itemize them correctly, or this is wasteful spending. You know what I'm saying? And then it'll only take the one article as they go, you know, whenever there's something negative about one HBCU, they highlight that for all HBCUs. So that's why you got to be on your P's and Q's. They shutting down Doge right now. We shall see. Hell, they done did all the damn damage. They got all the social security numbers. They got all the accounts. Like, how do you even get that far? That's a whole number within itself. So, okay. Somebody in the chat said there was a lot of talk of the SWAC proposal in 1979. The late Coach Lambert Reed was a big proponent. The conference was to be called the Hollywood Conference. The Hollywood Conference! I'm glad they didn't do that, Mr. Ford. Merge the SWAC.
Yeah, I knew him. I knew Coach Lambert Reed.
The Hollywood Conference. Who came up with that name? That's a terrible name. Hollywood.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that, but I did know Coach Lambert Reed. He was a graduate of Morris Brown, had worked with Charlie Pale at the University of Florida.
The powers that be want the land that St. Augustine is on.
Yeah, that was one of the things the Hampton graduate told me last week, was that a number of these Black private schools need to look at merging with other Black private schools. She gave the example of, she said Benedict and Allen should merge. And then she gave the one, she said St. Aug and Shaw should merge.
I don't know. See, why do we have to merge?
There's strength in numbers.
How about you get your numbers up? We're going to talk about the numbers game, Mr. Ford, because they said that Black men are not enrolling in college at the same levels as other people. And so we're about to talk about it. Tougaloo and Jackson State should merge. Tougaloo. I don't know if you guys ever watched the live when they were talking about Tougaloo, but what do you think about that, Tougaloo and Jackson State, Mr. Ford? I don't think so.
That would be major. I mean, you know, I just think it would be awesome.
All right. Oh, so a North Carolina Central alum said that the reporting is accurate. Asses have been fired with more disciplinary actions to come.
Oh, okay.
And he's a North Carolina Central alum, and he's confirming. All right. Let me see, Mr. Ford. What did you think about Grambling's head coach, former head coach Dante Jackson at Alabama A&M? We pretty much already said that was going to happen, right?
Yeah, I think he's going to do great at Alabama A&M. I know that because I was always impressed with him. He's the guy that came from Stillman, right?
Oh, he came from your school.
No, where was
Oh,
he? Did he?
okay.
Where was he before he came to Grambling?
Oh, let me see. He's been at Grambling for so long. Good
Yeah, but
Lord.
I think he came from Stillman College,
Yes,
didn't he?
he came from Stillman.
Yeah,
They
that
won
guy's
the
a good coach.
2016 SWAC championship tournament and earned a berth in the NCAA tournament where they defeated West Georgia in the first round game. Yeah, he came from there.
Yeah, he's gonna do well with
He
that new
was at
facility.
Central
You in
State.
Huntsville, he's gonna do well. He's gonna do well at A&M.
Let me see. I think it's interesting that this particular coach, that's who they chose.
Well, I guess he had a familiarity with the state of Alabama. He's won the SWAC. He's been competitive. I could see the hire. I think it's a big time hire.
Alabama A&M said they are coming for everybody's coaches, so keep your head on the swivel. Oh, Mr. Ford, we have to talk about this real bad. Real bad. This is kind of local, but we're gonna put this on blast. Mr. Ford, in Jackson, we're having like mayor primary, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh my gosh. They said that Horn is a Republican plant. And he won by a landslide. Like, it was ridiculous the number he won by. But what they're saying is that it possibly the numbers could not be representative of Jackson, because they had some I think they have open primaries in Jackson where if you're a Republican, you're allowed to vote. So they have a lot of Republicans that voted him on the Democratic ballot so that he could make it to the runoff.
Okay. Well, that's not the first time that's been done. That's been done a number of times here in the Atlanta area too.
But I don't think you understand, and I don't know. This is like the Jackson Municipal Airport is riding on this. Gentrification of Jackson is riding on this. What else? Probably the over policing of Jackson. A lot of times we see folks saying tough on crime,
right,
and the criminalization of the Black communities. So instead of, like, I don't know, funding after school programs, they'll like make stop and frisk type of moves, or criminalize young men with their pants hanging down below their butts, or make a curfew or something like that. Like, he'll just hand the airport over without any type of, and that's why it's really sad when you have men in power who they mean well for the community, but their other vices get in the way of them being able to run correctly. Meaning, the mayor has a federal case that's pending. So, it's kind of like, at this point, a lesser of two evils. You guys, we need to vote Lumumba back in, even though, he has that case pending. Putting in Horn will be way worse.
Hey, what happened to you? You had a mayor named York. Was that his name? But before, God, I can't think of this guy's name.
Tony Yarber.
Yarber, right. What happened to him?
Maybe they can tell you in the chat.
Is he still in Jackson?
They said he was hanging it low and spreading it wide, Mr. Ford.
Oh, okay.
Listen, most of the mayors, most of the time, whenever you get to be the head of or be mayor in Jackson, you're not really going to be able to do anything anyway. You're not. Like, at that point, you're just kind of like just trying to keep things together, because you have to work with the state, and the state's not going to give you any money. I wish Stokes would have run. Good Lord, I wish Kenny Stokes would have won. He would have won by a landslide.
Okay.
All right. So let me see. I'm looking at my my next thing that I needed to ask you. Okay, so let's talk about this, about the lower college rates of young Black men. So basically what happened is, Mr. Ford, somebody released an article that said that the number of Black men that are enrolled in HBCUs is significantly decreased. And so then you have folks going on like all these think pieces as to why we don't have as many Black men in college. And then they just started attacking little Black boys. And I was like, wait a minute. What is going on here? Saying that they don't want to be, there's no mentorship, that little Black boys are illiterate. You work at a school. Can you kind of, especially with our youth, can you kind of like highlight the state of just our kids now in high school and middle school? Like, what is the state of our kids' education as far as, are they gaining their lessons? Are they not listening? Do they have aspirations to go to college?
Yeah, they have aspirations to go to college. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that the school system itself is our biggest issue. I cling to the day when Black people will basically take over the financing of our education of our, especially our Black boys. I would like to see these churches, especially these big mega churches, have their own school systems. I would like to see more children educated homeschool wise. I just think that we need to look at some alternatives. Now, the other thing I've thought for a long time is that I would like for every town or city to have an elementary school that mimics Morehouse College, where all of the little Black boys are educated separately and that they are taught by Black men.
And I think that was an issue, is because I want to say there's a statistic out that basically highlights that the amount of men educators, Black men educators, is so low. It says Black men account for less than 2% of the U.S. public school teacher workforce. But I mean, that's just basically due to the underfunding.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing that I think one of the things I would like to see is that we do our own certification. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's necessary that a Black man has to have a certification or college degree to be an outstanding teacher. I don't believe that. I think that we should have where we train our people to teach in our schools. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I just wish we would seek alternatives away from the K-12 public school system, to be honest with you.
So I want to say that we talked about this probably about 7 or 8 months ago, Mr. Ford, because we were doing, I was doing like, I want to say like history lessons or something about the older type of schools that we used to have before they desegregated. Mm-hmm. And I was also talking about like we need to get the Rosenwald schools?
Yeah, the Rosenwalds. Yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So when we were talking about it, I was saying 8 or 9 months ago that we need to go back to that because what I see is a shift, which is, of course, they've already done it, but now they're kind of blatant with it, which is they're utilizing the state funding for private schools with these voucher programs. And they started out saying, oh, if you are a certain level of income, you can get a voucher to go to private school. So it's basically a scholarship, and then you just pay the rest out of pocket, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how they started out. Now in North Carolina, anybody can get the voucher. You're only going to get a certain amount, but anybody can get the voucher now for private school because they basically have abandoned public schools. The only children left in public schools, usually the teachers are overwhelmed because there's a lot of kids that are not learning at the level that they should be, or some of them have behavior problems. Whereas in private school, it doesn't matter if you qualify or not, or if you have the funds. If your kid is not meeting certain benchmarks, or if they have disciplinary issues, you got to go. So they're able to be choosy on what type of kids they accept, which is how they're able to showcase such successful numbers. But in theory, like Dr. Umar always talks about this school that's needed, but we've never actually seen it come to fruition where you have these schools that are dedicated on the upbringing and the development of young Black children. So I wanted to pull up the numbers because they were basically saying that Black men are not going, and basically Dre's been going off on Twitter saying you guys need to stop the cap. You guys are misrepresenting the numbers. It's not really true. So he highlighted, this is from 2022, higher education enrollment rates are lower for men of all races. And he pointed out that the gap between Black men and Black women is lower than any other demographic. So basically, Black men enrollment is at about 33%. Black women is at 39%. Whereas with Hispanic, it's 27% and 39%. With white, it's like a 10% gap. So I think that one of the things that we're seeing is that Black women have the most degrees, or, you know, it's been that way for quite some time, but they obtain the most degrees out of all levels. So
yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
One of the things that I wanted to highlight was, like, are we just going to act like COVID didn't just happen? Like, COVID happened. There was a significant decrease, of course, in enrollment all over, not just HBCUs. And then we started to see an increase. And that's just the thing. And that, which is that women have always been in college more than men. That's just, it is what it is. And on top of that, when I was doing my research, Why does it keep doing that? I don't know what's going on with this thing. I don't know what's going on with my microphone.
Yeah, I kind of lost you there for a while, and I'm hearing you now.
There are more women on the planet than men. More men get trades or join the military than women. So, Mr. Ford,
yes.
What do you think we should do? Or is Jerome here? Jerome, because Jerome had an idea about like for HBCUs to take advantage of it is to create some, which they probably already have it, right? But to create specifically for young Black men, which is like for the HBCUs to create local relationships with some of the high schools. So that they can get a scholarship, like a bridge program.
Right.
What do you think about that? Like a bridge program from high school, or maybe you start in middle school.
Yeah, I'm for that. I'm into this thing right now. I would like to see Blacks not only teach the class, but I want to see Blacks finance the education. I want to see the Blacks write the curriculum. You know, I just want to see Blacks take over the education. Because like I stated to you earlier, one of the problems I've seen, you know, I've been in education almost 40 years now, is that the public school system is the main problem. It's the main problem.
Hey, Jerome.
Hey, Timona, Mr. Poor, how you doing?
Hey, man. How you doing, bro, Jerome?
Pretty good. So, no, I was talking with Timona, and, I noticed that Morgan State, I want to say about a year ago, they launched a very aggressive campaign to attract more Black males. And I think it was called Finish the Race or something like that. But essentially, they were targeting Black men who may have left school for whatever reason, could have been financial, family, etc., and really aggressively, going after them via different mediums, via mail, phone, email, etc., and allowing them to come back and have. It seemed to be somewhat of an accelerated program for them to complete their degree either in person or online. So, the way that they launched it and just looking at the variables and the parameters, I think that's something that should be kind of modeled across, all of our HBCUs. Because let's be honest, a lot of these PWIs, they don't care about Black men. They don't see value in them outside of athletics. So if anyone is going to help increase that number, it's got to be us. And, it's also going to help with enrollment, especially if you increase your online capacity. A lot of our schools are looking for, additional spaces for living. But until we get that funding, I think the online space is going to be our kind of bread and butter to increase that enrollment, increase revenue, but also allow quite a few Black men to, come in and complete their degree.
I was just looking right here. One of your chat people said something that I totally agree with, is we got to go back to start to teaching our children how to make money with their hands. Okay, we got to go back and start teaching agriculture. We got to go back and start teaching building construction. Today, if you're just going to teach them this so-called quote-unquote liberal arts type education and don't teach them how to make money with their hands, you're not doing it correctly. You got to go back and teach these kids how to make money with their hands. Because listen, this guy's getting ready to shut this country down. Okay. Not only is he getting ready to shut this country down, you're getting ready to see civil war here. You're getting ready to see a world conflict. And if we can't provide for ourselves, then we won't get it. So That's what I'm saying. We gotta be able to teach our young people how to make money and provide services with their hands. It's imperative. We can't get around it.
So I had a question. Because somebody in the chat made a good point, which is that the salaries that are offered in school are making it undesirable for Black men to be teachers because they have to provide and the salaries are so low. So what are some things that can be done? Because we know we don't have any DEI grants coming in. Those are the days of old. So there's not going to be any programs created specifically to remedy any of these things. So how are we going to gain the capital to be able to do these things?
Listen, always remember, education is the beginning of power. If you don't believe that, go check them Mormons out there in Utah. Go check them Jews when they started yeshiva and them other Jewish universities up there in the Northeast. Go check them Catholics over there that started Georgetown and other Catholic universities. Okay, we got somewhere along the line we have to sacrifice. Okay, and I'm just telling you, we the only one worrying about that. You think Booker T? Let me ask you: was Booker T. Washington worried about his salary when he started Tuskegee? Was he worried about that? I'm quite sure they didn't give him no fabulous salary to come to Tuskegee, Alabama.
No.
Okay. It's a matter of survival now, I'm telling you. Because let me just say this. I mean, if y'all don't understand this, the light's getting ready to go off in this place with what this madman is getting ready to do. Listen, if you haven't studied Nero was a leader during the Roman Empire. This guy reminds me of Nero. They had an old saying, Nero fiddle while Rome burned. That's what this guy gonna do.
So we're just gonna what? Disappear?
I don't know if we're gonna disappear, but it ain't looking good for this place, for this empire. Now I don't know what we gonna do, and I'm not saying we gonna disappear, but one thing you have to understand: there was a lady who wrote, I think it was a guy who wrote a book. He said everything that Trump touches, he destroys.
Well, I did see that the tariffs that he implemented has caused.
Oh, them tariffs is gonna cause, like I said, civil war, and them tariffs is gonna cause a world conflict. If you don't understand that, I'm sorry. That's what them tariffs gonna do.
Huge layoffs in the automobile industry. I don't know. Like, oh, go ahead, Jerome.
Yeah, I just want to say, I do remember about, I want to say 2013, 2014, Jackson State developed a program. I think it was called Call Me Mr. program. And with that program, it kind of blossomed into a partnership between Jackson State, Clemson University, quite a few other kind of Power 5 schools. But JSU became the nation's #1 leader in African-American male educators. We were producing so many Black male educators during that time. I don't know if that was via a grant that maybe subsidized, the tuition for those students who decided to go into that space to maybe mitigate student loans, et cetera. But it's definitely worth, I think for all of our schools to maybe go back and take a look at. But to your point, like you said, the salaries have to increase. I know that they pay pretty well in certain states like Texas, but I think the overarching issue is really talking to these young Black boys and young Black men and kind of gaining their perspective as far as how they feel about school. Because to your point, Timona, there were a lot of narratives via TikTok and social media saying, oh, they're going to trade school, oh, they're doing that. But then when you actually talk to them, that's not the reason why they are not choosing college. You know, a lot of it has to do with representation. Um, with respect to, do they even see themselves in those type of space, like those professional careers? Like, do they see themselves in television and film and those type of careers compared to other demographics? What are the guidance counselors doing in the middle school and high school spaces to maybe introduce those students to, campus life? When I was in high school, there was a program that a lot of HBCUs had called Educational Talent Search. They provide, a lot of resources, free tutoring, unlimited ACT, SAT fee waivers. But the big caveat that they provided was more so taking students to campus tours. And that was the first time that a lot of inner city kids got a chance to actually touch a college campus. So, I think it's multi-layered, but just really, and I'm speaking as a mentor, like someone who actually mentors young Black boys here in Charlotte, and just listening to what they say, and looking at a space like 100 Black Men. I know they have a chapter here in Charlotte, but their national slogan is, "If you can see it, you can be it." And I think with a lot of young Black boys, because they don't see themselves, they don't see Black men teachers for the most part. They don't see a lot of Black male engineers or architects or what have you. I think that's an issue. I think representation plays a big part.
And that's really interesting because we actually have a lot of, well, I can say for myself, I know at least 2 or 3 Black men who are engineers or, Jackson State, or Black doctors. And I know for,
Let me ask you this, Simona, to your point just now, though. Do you feel our HBCUs are doing a quality job of showcasing those men that are in those spaces? Like you said, doctor, attorney, engineer. Are they profiling them? Are they highlighting them?
I think highlighting is it, but I think it's more like getting in the field, right? So when I say get in the field, I'm not saying, because I know that they have mentoring programs for a lot of the Divine Nine, the fraternities. They do have mentoring programs. Matter of fact, I think the Omegas have some type of
It's called
lady was
Mega.
telling me it's a camp that's in Winston-Salem State or something like that. And I think it starts when they turn 8 for young men.
Yeah, I went to that camp. Back then it was in Aiken, South Carolina. It was pretty cool, just from a lot of different perspectives. The Alphas, they have a project called the Alpha Project, and they teach a lot of boys how to, tie ties, change tires, etc., identifying STDs, how to put on a condom, just a lot of good stuff.
Oh no, that'll have to be a little bit after Braxton gets a little older for the Alpha Project. Hold up now. That sounds like 13, 14.
Yeah, but you know what? To your point, though, there are a lot of Black spaces that provide mentorship, not just the fraternities, but also Black churches. You have 100 Black Men in America. They have their mentorship program, the Urban League, so many different spaces. We just got to get these kids into those spaces. But I think my overarching question was, as far as our HBCUs, because we're going to have to be the ones who set the standard. Like I said, these other schools, they don't care about Black males outside of athletics. So when it comes to showcasing Black men in professional spaces, professional careers, and I think all of our schools have produced Black male engineers, Black healthcare professionals, architects, etc. Are we doing our part in highlighting those Black men or showcasing them on social media or just whatever? Are we doing our part with that?
Right. So I feel like maybe it's a matter of maybe the voices that we already have, the programs that we already have, the different, like you said, the different things that we already have to be pronounced in to get to these inner city youth, to get to the places. But I will be honest with you, sometimes there's levels, right, of who you're going to which demographic. And when I say demographic, there's levels of being a minority, right? So you have the impoverished level, that would be like inner city Chicago, the O block. You might not be going to the O block to save those types of men, right? Or those young boys, because that's you have to have a different level of engagement in the community to go to those types of places and get those young men. And then you just might have like middle class, lower to middle class. There's different levels of the types of young men that you're going to target. I do think we have to hold parents accountable to a certain extent, though, Jerome, in terms of these young men, because if you guys aren't laying a foundation for these young men to build on, even if you did have some of these programs available, if they don't have that foundation, how are they going to be able to perform?
Right. I agree. And I think holding them accountable as well, just from being a well-rounded student. I've seen a lot of parents in this generation that if their child says they don't want to participate in something extracurricular, and it does not have to be sports. There's so many other avenues that, and spaces they can join that builds
Right.
teamwork, a spirit de corps, focus and fortitude. So many other things that they can join. But to your point, parents have to get into the mode of saying, okay, you got to do more than just go to school. You got to get involved, because there's a lot of different intangible things that come from that, from being in those places, that kind of open up other opportunities for them when it comes to college or just success in general. But
and I think that's a part of like parent sacrifice is huge. Taking that time out. It's like for Braxton, he plays soccer, he likes to play chess. They have a STEM club, a eco club, chess club, what else? Lego club. So it's one thing to say that these young men are, not getting the opportunities, but if the parents aren't there mentally, emotionally, or even if their level of education isn't ascertained to where they would even think that my son needs to be in a political club, or my child needs to be in debate club, right? These are things that they help with social and emotional development, and also helping you get to that next level. But I'm gonna be honest with you, parent involvement is the starting point. We can't expect for the teachers to pick up the slack, or you can't expect because you're pulling too much. If you don't have a foundation for that, a person can be right in front of you, but if you don't have that foundation, it's going to be that much harder. And it's a certain sacrifice that you have to take, that's a lot of hours that, that are taken away that you have to put towards your child. And it's an investment that you have to make. And I think that that's another thing, that COVID set us back. There's a lot of kids in public schools that were behind so far. Like they were behind with reading, but also emotional and social skills were at an all-time low. There's a lot of kids that have speech impediments and also speech delays because we were wearing masks for so long. And a lot of times, like even younger kids, they look at your mouth when you're speaking to learn how to develop those types of skills. And a lot of people were wearing masks learning on the computer. How can you really learn on a computer, sitting there looking at the computer all day?
And that goes back to your point that the parents being more involved. Even if you can't sacrifice, to get your child involved in that after school program, at least, when it comes to the basic fundamentals of reading and writing, articulation, things like that, it could be 30 minutes a day. But I will say, for Black parents, if you are located in a city where there is an HBCU, I promise you there are a litany of different services that they provide throughout the year and they're free of charge. Not only that, also during the summer, there's a host of different summer camps that are typically for
yes,
and not just STEM based, but so many other different types of camps regarding academics and athletics. But I feel like all these summer camps at these HBCUs, they should be filled to capacity. There's no reason why there should be a lack of engagement or participation from students, especially if you're in an urban area. So to your point, parents got to do their job of just looking up a lot of these different mentorship programs, summer camps, and free services that these Black colleges are offering. Because that's what we're here for. The Black college was designed to help our community. So the mission hasn't changed. I think sometimes the vision for our community is kind of shifted, and the priority. And there's a brother's comment that was on the screen just now. He said he didn't feel supported, and to his point, that's why I brought up that comment about our HBCUs promoting Black men, because, I love social media. And I take a look at a lot of different HBCU social media platforms, some of the marketing campaigns they put out there. And there's definitely, you can just go look for yourself.
Right.
Well,
right.
So, now, Brother Jerome, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
The prime word you just used is priorities. If we would take priorities, if we take the money that we spend on prostitution, the money that we spend on drugs, the money that we spend on weave hair,
hold up now, Mr.
wait, the money that we spend on pornography, we could set up one of the greatest educational systems across this country for Black boys and Black girls. Yeah. But the number one thing we got to do is get out, like you said, the priorities are not there. Okay? That's what we got to change is our priorities. Which one is more important? Weave hair or education? Which one is more important? Pornography or education? Which one is more important? Pornography or crack? That's what we got to make up our mind on. Because I done said this over and over. Them white people done told you, after Black people pay their bills, you got over $1 trillion in discretionary income. So money ain't the problem.
And, Mr. Ford, to your point earlier, you said, I guess more investment within a lot of the Black churches that offer an actual school setting. And I think you mentioned some of the mega churches. A lot of these mid-sized to large Black churches, they do offer some type of a school system. And if we can invest more in that, they could, of course, expand their capacity, just with respect to, paying their teachers and hiring more teachers, building more classrooms. But that's a great alternative as well.
In other words, Mr. Ford said, y'all got to stop the tricking.
Well, and let me just say this, and I know a lot of people are going to get upset with me, but it's the truth. And I've said this over and over. The overwhelming majority of our people are totally out of control. 66% of our people are out of control, okay? And they're holding us down. And so what we need to focus on is that 33% of our people are trying to do the right thing. Let that 66 go, and let's just focus on them 33%. Now, some people going to say that's elitist. Some people going to call it whatever. Y'all can, whatever you want to intellectualize that as, I don't care, but it's the truth. The majority of our people are out of control. But we have a 33% of our people who are trying to do the right thing. And that's why I say, Put the focus on that 33%. The 66%, they hurting us.
Close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors.
And you know, there's been some you know, conversation on social media about, you know, back when we were coming up, whether it's like the 80s or the 90s, early 2000s, you had shows like A Different World or The Cosby Show or even, you know, Family Matters. Most of the Black shows, they, you know, depicted college educated or professional Black families on television. And then, of course, we did have quite a few Black movies where Black boys saw themselves. And I think that played a part in it as well. You had a lot more conscious music, like conscious rap, uh, you know, and quite a few brothers that were in the music space that were of substance. But now everything's kind of reversed, and we can't really control that because we know that the music industry and the film, television and film, they've got their own agenda. But I think what
Right.
Mr. Ford is talking about is like focusing on what we can control, and if that is coming from that 33% and focusing on them who actually want to do better, it's only going to have a trickle down effect. So I would charge all of our HBCUs, number one, to be more fair and balanced, just with respect to, you know, the messaging and the images that we're putting out there, just making sure that all these brothers that are on campus doing great things, getting great internships in the summer, and, you know, doing their part. Let's make sure that we provide a space for them, not only to continue to grow, but let's make sure that we're promoting them, because it's a dangerous game that you're playing by not doing so. Because once they graduate and they matriculate through life and do very well in their career, do you honestly think they're going to give back to your school? Do you honestly think they're going to advocate for your school? So let's do better on that front. But also, to Timona's point, our parents holding them accountable, just to make sure that they know there's a lot of different spaces out here for mentorship, and there's a lot of Black colleges offering free services to help your Black son.
And, you know, some of those most lucrative types, I remember Mr. Ford said that we need to start using our hands and stuff like that. Some of the most lucrative businesses that they have right now, like construction or plumbing or going into fixing air conditioners or engineering, I or even agricultural and farming and agriculture. Like some of our schools, that's what they were originally designed for. So, like I know, I'll take for instance Alcorn. Isn't that an agricultural school? Oh, it was.
Right. It was a land grant. Yeah. It's supposed to be agriculture and mechanical, which meant agriculture and engineering.
Right. So some
That's
of our
Southern University. That's North Carolina A&T. That's Florida A&M. That's Alabama A&M. Fort Valley State. Yeah, all of those. Tennessee State. Remember, Tennessee State at one time was called Tennessee A&I.
electricians, like, I'm not going to say that we should. I'm thinking that we need to start offering or getting a go around to also start offering those same types of programs at
Oh, we got no choice. We don't have no
like
choice.
the same way that they have like a 10-week certification program for they usually have them at the community colleges and stuff. That's how you see a lot of community colleges turning into either minority serving institutions, is because they're getting those students.
Well, let me say this, Mr. Bone. See, like I just told you, we don't have a choice. See, if you don't know how to grow food in the future, then you're not gonna eat. If you don't know how to fix a car, fix your car, you're not gonna ride. We don't have a choice. Okay? If you don't know how to make money with your hands, you're going to have major problems in this new world. Because I'm telling you, that man's shutting this thing down. He's shutting this down. And if you don't have the services and the skills, then those things that you don't have, you won't do. You can't grow crops, you won't eat. You can't fix your car, you won't ride. We don't have a choice.
And I think a lot of us got away from it and kind of started like, I'm not going to say they got away from it, the original, but it's kind of like, you know how they started doing the liberal arts and whatnot. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with those types of degrees, but like you said, we got to be able to work with our hands. We got to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And you want to increase your enrollment, Valley, you need to open up a CDL program. Or if you have one, you need to expand it. So I'm going to read this. This is a screenshot that was sent to me. It was the policy of the slave owner never to allow Negroes to learn how to read and write. If so, they could have never kept them in slavery. During those days are past, and we have to work out our own destiny. As such, we are fast coming to the front. I'll make this suggestion to the convention. After our college is paid for and a dormitory is built to accommodate the students who attend the school, the convention should establish a printing department to instruct our young men and women in the art of setting, type, print, and binding books. As we now have a college, in fact, we must establish 3 more departments: medical, mechanical, and law departments. We must have them to supply the wants of our race. For now, the college is a grand success. All that is wanted is more house room to accommodate the students. Then we can open these departments just as we have done thus far. And this is a letter from H.P. Jacobs to the Baptist Missionary Convention in 1886.
And for those of you who don't know who that is, he was the founder of Jackson State University, National Seminary. And to your point, Mr. Ford and Simona, even back then, there was a push for working with the hands, but holistically looking out for the Black race. And that's what we got to get back to.
Yeah. Didn't the students build Tuskegee? I thought I read where they worked. I mean, they had classes in the morning, and then they built the buildings in the evening, didn't they?
Yeah, they used that Alabama clay and created their own brick. And, you know, of course, there were architect majors. There were a couple of other Black colleges. I want to say Alabama A&M had that as well. But yeah, a lot of these schools were literally built by us. Brick by brick.
And we have to also remember, we have to mention Hiram Revels too, and what he did, you know, in the state of Mississippi too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, you look at John R. Lynch and Hiram Revels and H.B. Jacobs and a couple of others. They were very, very pivotal during the Reconstruction period of Mississippi. Just amazing Black leaders. But I think a lot of the things that we saw back then are very, very much still applicable today.
Without a doubt.
You know, the root of our success has got to start in the home, you know. And we can send our Black boys to get mentored, but it has to also be reinforced back at the house.
Yeah.
It has to be reinforced at the house. Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things you have to look at historically is that when you go into a recession, depression, like we're getting ready to go into, crimes against children, women, and elderly skyrocket. So what does that mean? We've got to train people in security. We got to have our own private, like I tell the people all the time. One of the reasons they were able to do what they did down in Tulsa is because them people couldn't protect Black Tulsa. They couldn't protect it. And I'm telling you now, we're getting ready to go into a recession, depression. You're going to see crimes against children skyrocket, which they already up. Crimes against women are going to skyrocket, and crimes against elderly people are going to skyrocket. What do we have to do? We've got to train a security force. We can't get around it.
And that's what it is. So for us, like you said, we're right here on the cusp of a dangerous, very dangerous recession where folks are getting ready to start feeling it. They're laying off people that have had jobs for 25 plus years.
Let me tell you something that they don't want to talk about. And it's some of the people are talking about it, some are not, and it's very controversial. But you have women right now who study sociology and supposedly they study demographics. And they're saying in the future, you're going to have 3 to 4 women with 1 man. Why? Because that's what the times are going to call for. Of course, nobody wants to talk about that.
Wait a minute, Mr.
Yeah,
Ford.
I'm serious. Nobody wants to talk about that. Okay. You know, it's kind of like that guy I told you. I don't know if I told you about it. There's a guy on the internet who says he was a Soviet spy, and he says that they recruited Donald Trump as far back as 1987, and no major network will interview him. Well, that's the same thing about this thing about these people saying in the future that you could have 3 to 4 women basically married to 1 man, and they're going to be happy, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that because I don't know how that's going to work.
Well, you know what? According to some of these people who are looking at demographics of the future, they're saying it's going to happen. It's going to be a reality.
Even with Black people?
Because see, here's the thing. You got to remember this. You got Black women who make enough money. They don't need anybody to pay their bills. But it's one thing they lack. They don't have protection. And that's what those men are going to offer to them is protection.
You're offering is protection, so I can't pay for protection. Ain't no way I'm going to be dealing with no man.
I'm just telling you now. It's something that nobody wants to talk about. But they're saying that it will be a reality.
How is he supplying No comment. Lord have mercy. He said we're gonna be one man to 4 women. How is he gonna protect all 4?
Hey, like I said, this is what they're saying. That man will provide protection because, like we said, you have what you already talked about that earlier. You said that the women, as far as economics, is out progressing the men. Okay, but there's still some things that are still going on, and that is that criminals prey on women. I know they do here in Atlanta. I don't know how it is in Charlotte, but child prostitution and predatory behavior against single women, it's a real thing in Atlanta. Especially because here's the thing about Atlanta. We'll have a Black woman go missing, and guess what? Nobody will say nothing about it. Nothing.
There is a reason nobody wants to talk about that, Mr. Ford. There's definitely a huge
but it's a hard conversation that we're going to have because, like I said, I mean, it is being discussed, but it's not a mainstream conversation, but it's being discussed now.
That's a new one on me. Okay. I wanted to quickly talk about, but then we're gonna head on out, which is the Prairie View spring game is gonna be tomorrow. At 4:30. It got rescheduled because of the weather. And then Jackson State spring game is canceled, Mr. Ford.
Right.
They canceled Christmas on us because of the weather.
Hey, Tiger Nation, you read the scriptures, right? David had several wives. Didn't Solomon have wives and concubines?
Wait a minute. You just said
wait a minute. That was Tiger Nation, the undefeated. You read the scriptures, right?
Oh, he said, do you see all of them? He had 1,000 of them, didn't he?
Okay, what are you talking about?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, that's how Solomon lost control of the kingdom.
Yeah, he dealt with a lot of foreign women.
Speak on it, Jerome. How did he lose the kingdom?
Having So many strange women.
Yeah, strange women, foreigners.
Too many women. Mm-hmm.
You know, there was well, I won't go there. But I'm sorry, you said Prairie View. They got the swing game this weekend.
There has been many men that has lost powerful men in high places who were supposed to lead and save their perspective, whether it be their school, whether it be their country. Has been many men that has lost their way, and it was due to only not being able to concentrate on only one woman.
Well, now let's go back. If you go back and look at old Asian, this is before the coming of European dominance. You know, when you look at Asian and African history, polygamy was common. Now, when you look at, especially in the Middle Eastern nations, they felt that the thing that consummated a marriage was sex. Mm-hmm. It was not a ring, it was not vows, but sex. If you had sex with a person, you married that person.
Right.
Okay. So when you look at the country today, I mean, we might not want to face it, but polygamy is real in America. It's just that the emphasis is not on sex, it's on companionship.
Right. Polygamy builds dynasty. That's what Dr. Hall said. Polygamy.
Well, I mean, look, to be honest with you, have you looked at the Mormons?
Well, you know,
look at that history and what happened with them.
Mr. Ford, that is true. Back then, women were seen as property.
Yeah, well, I know women were. If you look at the scriptures, it talks about a woman being the possession of her husband. At one time, if you mess with a man's wife and he took your life, nothing happened to him because it was seen that you were messing with his possession. You were messing with his property.
Mm-hmm. Well, you making it sound like, you know what it sounds like? The time that we get ready to go back to the Handmaid's Tale, whatever it's called. Multiple women.
Well, I think that, you know, with the current situation that's going on, we're going to get back to the basics. No doubt about that. That's happening.
It's going to be.
Like I said, you know, nobody wants to talk about it, but they're saying that it's going to be a reality. You're going to see 2 and 3 women with one man, and they're going to be happy.
I don't know about being happy.
Because like I said, you got women here in this country who, we got in Atlanta, we got 21, 22, 23-year-old black girls. They making $200,000-$300,000 because they, what they call them, media influencers. But at the same time, guess what? They don't have no protection. They don't have no protection. Now they making money. They got homes. They got cars. They educated. But any thug can walk up and do something horrendous to them.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Ford.
You're right about that, Ed. Right. There are so many single women. And a lot of these single women in Atlanta make big money too.
Woman happy. It's hard enough keeping one woman happy.
Hey, like I said, I know y'all, like I said, you can intellectualize it any way you want to, but this is one of the things they're talking about, is that in the future, you will see 2 and 3 women with one man, and they're going to be happy.
Scary time, scary time.
Because, you know, historically, women have, if you go back to antiquity or to ancient times, women always outnumbered men. That's nothing new. That is nothing new. If you go back and study history, you go back and study the medieval period, you go back and study ancient times, even today. I think we have in the metro area right now, for every one black man, there's like 30 black women. So that's
30
nothing
black women?
Yes, in the metro Atlanta area.
30 black women to every one man?
Listen to me, Mr. Mona. When I was at what you now call Clark Atlanta University, when I was there in the 70s, it was called Clark College. It was 8-1. It was for every one black male student, it was 8 female students. In the entire Atlanta University Center, it was 17-1. For every one black male in the Atlanta University Center, there were 17 women. So that's why I'm trying to say to you that this thing of black women outnumbering black men, that's nothing new. That's nothing new.
They said the dating pool has pee in it, Mr. Ford.
Uh-huh.
They said the dating pool has pee in it.
Okay.
Okay, so the spring game is canceled. They canceled Christmas on us, Mr. Ford. But Granny says that she's glad because she ain't trying to have them people poach. But you can go ahead and look at the 2025 spring roster. There are, when I counted, there was 92 people, 92 student athletes on there. I just saw one student athlete go in there. He was an offensive lineman. He was a red shirt.
Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Listen, I listened to an interview this week with the new offensive coordinator at Prairie View. And I don't know if you know this, but he spent some time coaching at Jackson State. Did you know that?
Oh.
Yes, he was brought to Jackson by Ernest Wilson. Ernest Wilson was brought to Jackson by Rick Comegys as offensive coordinator. Now, the question was posed to him, while you were at Jackson, in your opinion, what was the biggest game? You know what he said?
Okay.
He said the Boombox Classic in Jackson. He said he had seen nothing like that. When he said the first time he witnessed Southern come into Jackson, Mississippi, he said he had never seen nothing like it. And now my thing, after listening to him last night, I'm telling people that guy's eventually going to be a head coach because it's all in his voice. He's going to be a head coach. But he's the new offensive coordinator at Prairie View.
So what do you think about the offensive coordinator? You were impressed? It was an impressionable interview? You think he's got...
Yeah, I mean, now I've got to see him, but I was very impressed with, what he was talking about. Now, he said that he coached Rico Richardson. You remember Rico Richardson? Remember Rico went to the Kansas City Chiefs from Jackson State?
Yeah.
Okay, he coached Rico. And he talked about Ernest Wilson. Ernest was brought there from, I want to say New Mexico. Was it New Mexico? Comegys brought Ernest Wilson there from New Mexico. Ernest Wilson left Jackson going to Hampton.
So he got good stock then. If he was there during the Comedy
He said the biggest game that he witnessed while he was on the staff at Jackson State was Southern University coming to Jackson, Mississippi.
Well, somebody wants to know, do you want the FAMU Tennessee State to continue game?
Yes, I grew up with that. Listen, I grew up with that. That was a major game. You got to remember now, I grew up 50 miles from Florida A&M's campus. Anytime the Big Blue from Nashville, Tennessee came down to Tallahassee, my parents were there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's a shame that Tennessee State has not played FAM, and I don't know how. I don't even know the last time they played. It's ridiculous.
It says Wilson was a running back coach from New Mexico State. He was a dangerous play caller with White Tiger, Casey Terrell.
So I'll say, Coach Wilson, I don't know if I remember that very distinctly. He was all right. I think Terrio and Kamaji, I credit them to most of that success. But I don't know if y'all remember it. I think it was like 2011. We had Terrio who played Alabama State in Jackson, and Alabama State had a horrible rush defense.
Right.
And every time we run the ball, we gained like maybe 8 to 11 yards. But Wilson had Terrio throw the ball literally like, it seemed like 200 times that game. And Terrio's arm got messed up because he threw the ball so much. And there was like maybe 6 interceptions, maybe 7. We ended up losing that game. It was a close game, but when he left Jackson State, he got the job at Hampton.
Right.
On his way out, and you can probably still find the interview. He said some pretty disparaging things about Jackson State, just with respect to the locker rooms and just some other stuff. And you don't bite the hand that feeds you, because he went to Hampton and stunk it up.
Right.
And I think the person who replaced him was, wasn't it Connell Maynard, or was he after Connell?
I think he was before Cornell.
Yeah, he was before, because Connell went
Before
to
Cornell. Yeah, he was before Cornell, Maynard. Because I think Ernest eventually went down to Savannah State.
Yeah.
And maybe Elizabeth City State.
But Mr. Ford, I'm not going to break any news, but if you have any close association with people from Savannah State, Fort Valley, or Albany, and I mean people who are in the know, you may want to have a conversation with them. There's some things going on that could be very detrimental, and it's actually almost inevitable.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you might want to have a conversation with them.
Well, listen. If you don't know what's going on by now, Bro Jerome, I don't think you'll ever know. Because I'm a person who's studied history, and like I told I brought up the name earlier. This guy, what is he? The 47th president. This guy's Nero, and you know what Nero did to Rome, and you know what he did to the brothers in Rome. Okay, he's a like the scriptures say, he's a cruel Lord. I mean, ain't no way around. That's what I'm saying. Hey, if you don't know how to build a house in the coming years, you won't live in a house. If you don't know how to grow food, you won't eat. If you don't know how to fix your car, you won't ride. Because he's getting ready to burn this down.
And do you think that HBCUs are going to be the first to be affected just because we have a lack?
Listen, they have always hated HBCU. I read a stat one time. This was many years ago. I read a stat. 24,000 Black people have been killed in the defense of HBCUs. There's a story, you can look it up, of the Klan coming on the campus of Talladega University. I think it was in the 1880s or 1890s. And they lynched not only the Black faculty, but the white faculty. Yes. They lynched both of them.
They already, like they just be working on, did you know they were planning on taking out $200,000 that's set aside for the Magic City Classic that they
I think I heard something like that.
Plan on doing some type of budget cut or something. The lawmakers are vowing to fight, but it's like lawmakers, the restaurants, the hotels, the
but you heard the
vendors, they need to be.
Bro Jerome, you and Mr. Moni, y'all heard the new name for the Democratic Party, right? Did y'all hear the new name?
What is it?
They call them the Schumercrats. What they call them, weak and spineless.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what they're calling them now, the Schumercrats. And it stands for weak and spineless.
Damn.
This guy's supposed to listen, they say he's the president. He sends nothing to Congress. Everything is an executive order. You know, in the past, the president would send the bill to Congress. They'd go to the House of Representatives, they vote on it. Then they go to Senate, they vote on it. Everything he does is an executive order.
That's because it would never pass.
And then all of a sudden now, the worst person in the world now is Jasmine Crockett. Have you heard that lately? She's violent. She's the worst person in the world. It's Jasmine Crockett.
What did you think about Corey, about the Booker talking for 25 hours, Mr. Ford?
I mean, it gave him some credibility, and you know, he represents the Democrats, but as far as putting food on people's table, no. As far as increasing people's pay, no. And as far as helping to forgive people's loan, no. Was it something of substance? Because my whole thing is, you had a chance to elevate him years ago. You didn't do it. You didn't do it. Yeah. So I'm just telling you, you know, they just to think about that now. You don't call them the Democrats anymore. You call them the Schumercrats, and they're saying that they're weak and spineless.
They can't do nothing about it. I think it's more so just
Checks and balances is gone. Remember they taught us that when we went to school about checks and balances. Okay, the federal branches. You had the 3 federal branches. No branch was stronger than the other. You had the executive. You had the legislative. You had the judicial. Okay. Congress basically doesn't matter. Okay. Clarence Thomas and the boys will give Trump anything he wants. They allowed a man with 34 felonies to run for president of the United States. And then he thanked John Roberts for doing it. They got that on film. That's on a hot mic. Bro, Jerome, you remember that, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he thanked John Roberts.
Well, so far the Supreme Court has blocked some stuff.
For now.
For now.
For now. For now.
You have any closing thoughts, Mr. Ford?
Yeah, like I said, the 33% got to come together. Because 66% of our people are out of control. And they're holding us back. And y'all can call that, y'all can intellectualize it any way you want to. But we got to concentrate on the 33%.
Jerome?
The majority of our people are out of control.
Yeah, the baddies and the YNs.
Oh, these killers. Okay. You know.
Jerome, do you have any last thoughts? Closing
Yeah,
thoughts?
Always an amazing discussion with both you and Mr. Ford. Again, let's get our Black sons in front of some mentors. There's so many different organizations that provide that service. Let's get our Black sons on HBCU campuses this summer to take advantage of those free services. And again, it starts in the home. Whatever our kids are given from a positive standpoint, let's make sure that we cultivate and reinforce that back in the home.
Lord, they in the comments talking about 3rd-term president. What? That's illegal. You can't do that.
But you can declare martial law.
A 3rd-term president?
You can declare martial law. You can declare martial law.
That's terrible. Mr. Ford, the Black community has voted for the Democrats for 60 years, and what did we get in return? Laws for immigrants and the LGBTQ community.
Well, actually, it's been a little bit longer than 60. The guy who convinced blacks, the majority of the blacks, to vote for Democrats was Franklin Roosevelt with that New Deal. And that was in, Brother Jerome, was that 32 or 33? So we're looking at over 90 years of black. Because when we came out of slavery, because we were in love with Abraham Lincoln, initially we voted Republican, okay? And we voted like that until the 30s. The majority of us began to vote Democrat under Franklin Roosevelt, the New Deal. You remember that? When we had the Great Depression, his answer was the New Deal, which basically ignored blacks in the South.
And you know, I don't know if you guys saw today that, you know, Trump cut funding for FAMU. Did you guys see that? Is like up to 16 million in budget cuts for FAMU's pharmacy school due to Trump pulling back on financial support. I think that's just going to be the tip of the iceberg. I think honestly, he's going to try to cut all funding for HBCUs and tie it into anti-DEI.
Yeah.
And he's going to leave, you know, the funding of our schools up to the discretion of the states.
The states, right. That's right.
And
That's right.
we're going to see him try to cut probably MLK Day and Juneteenth. So all I'm saying is, you know, everybody get your mind right. I don't think going to the streets is going to be the answer. We just have to all collectively come together to come up with some different solutions. And just, we got to dig into our pockets and use our resources to help our schools moving forward. But it's definitely coming. But we've been around for a long time. So one man is not going to be the demise of our own schools. The demise of our schools are going to come from us not collectively coming together to support.
And Brother Jerome, one thing we got to clean up is this immoral lifestyle that we've adopted here. We've got to give it up. This immoral lifestyle that we live in is killing us. We got to clean up our lives.
We do.
Yeah.
Because even
we got to let the immorality and all of that, we got to let it go. It's holding us back.
And to your point, even in the word, it does say that if my people who are called by my name,
right,
shall humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways, then they'll heal our land. But looking at the toxicity of the music culture that we're seeing, you know, it's almost demonic now. I know, you know, I used to listen to rap in the 90s. Yeah, I used to listen to rap in the 90s and the 80s and whatnot, R&B music, but you know, it was never demonic and dark like it is now. We got to get back to character and integrity and just morals, you know, because Black folks, Black Americans specifically, we've always been revered for our morality, our standard, etc. And I think we're losing the recipes, and it's our fault because we're not teaching our kids, like, again, not just education, but a lot of things from a Black American cultural standpoint, we're not passing on to the next generation. So we got to stop losing recipes and get back to basics.
Remember, there's 613 commandments in the scriptures. Adam and Eve only had one. They couldn't keep it. You go to Exodus 20, there are 10. And I tell people, we could just master those 10. It would kill Black on Black crime if you just master those 10 in Exodus 20. Just those 10. But it's 613 in the Bible.
Integrity, morality, and cultural pride is no longer valued by the masses.
Well, if you would go to Exodus 20 and just read just a little bit of that before I go to bed, because it's always uplifting for me to hear that. Go to
Exodus 20.
Exodus 20. Go to Exodus 20.
Exodus 20. And God, you want me to start
Yeah, right there, right there.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of any that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and shewing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take thy name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but in the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor the cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightning and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed it and stood afar off. And I said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said, huh?
We should have that in every black household. That should be on the wall. That should be in every every black child, girl, boy, man, woman should be forced to repeat that and memorize that every day. If we could just listen, do you know how it would elevate us if we could make those 10 things you just read a reality? You just read one I think will wipe out black on black crime. It will wipe it out. But I gotta go
Thou
to
shalt
bed.
not cover people's covets,
Yeah,
other people's stuff.
because one thing we love to do is brag about taking somebody else's wife.
Ooh,
I don't know about
wait
yeah, we
a
love bragging
minute.
about that. I know we do here in Atlanta. We always talk about somebody else's wife and how we
They
want to go
taking
with somebody else's wife.
Atlanta.
Huh?
They
Oh,
taking.
listen, you just read it. Adultery's big here. Real big. Well, listen, I thank you so much, Mr. Mona, and I'm gonna get in this bed because I got to deal with them children tomorrow. You have a good
Good night.
night. Brother Jerome is always great. Have a good one.
You too, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, so I'm gonna head on too. Y'all have a good night.
Have a good night, y'all. Mr. Ford, boy, he's calling them to the front, y'all. The doors of the church are closed. They're closed. Closed door, closed door, closed door, closed door. Closed door, closed door, closed door. All right. Oh, well, I ended with that scripture. May the Lord watch. You know what? We didn't even get to talk about Jackson State. Let's talk about Jackson State just a little bit, okay? Mr. Ford gone back to immoral behavior. No, Mr. Ford told y'all, he said, now look now, y'all could save some money if y'all would stop tricking. That's what he basically said. Stop spending money on prostitution. Stop spending money on porn, on immoral stuff, on OnlyFans. Oh, okay. Okay, so I just wanted to point this out real quick. So the roster that I counted 92 folks up on here. What y'all counted? I counted 20. I've counted 95. Maybe we'll go over it more in detail on Saturday night. I have a SWAC Saturday. Because of course, you know, yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. But I counted 92. I've seen one player, Antonio Ross, who was a redshirt freshman. I want to say he's an offensive lineman. He went into the portal, or he made that announcement today. And there are, you know, you're going to have to trim down, or you're going to see some folks in the next coming days go into the portal. So don't be surprised. It's all a part of this process. You have the spring game, which we're not actually having. So they're going to go based off of probably the scrimmages that they've done, or, you know, how they've been doing with spring practice, and they're going to make some trimmings. And so, you know, the portal's going to be opening up. I do know we got a new coach. I don't know what position he is coaching, because he didn't put that on there. But we have a new football coach. Let me give you his name. Coach Sanders. Coach Justin Sanders. He didn't say which coach he was, or excuse me, he didn't say which position. But he's been out there in the field. So I'm gonna be excited to see what his position is. You know, all things given, everything else is everything else. So Coach J.M. Sanders, and he was already on the field. He coached DBs. Oh, okay. He coached in the past, or he's coaching now? Because we have a DB coach. So is he an assistant DB coach? We shall see. Oh, Ed! Why would you say that? Oh, Lord. Oh, God, have mercy. What in the world? I'm just going to pretend like I didn't read that. The snake lady is the reason I became SWAC, not Dion. Lord have mercy. All right. So anyway, y'all, the spring game. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put it in there. It just happened yesterday. I believe. So spring game not happening, but I'm gonna just say this. If you haven't heard the song Back to Back by Drake, I suggest you listen to it, because that's what Jackson State football is planning on doing. We are definitely planning on going back to back. And the way that our roster is built, we're built for December. We're built for a repeat. And I don't think that we're going to see the same MEAC team. I don't think we're going to see the same MEAC team. And you know what? We got on like a whole bunch of other different linebacker coach. Okay, thank you. Linebacker. That's a linebacker coach. All right, cool. He's a linebacker coach. We got us a linebacker coach. You just jinxed your chances with that. Ladarius, you must not have seen me last year talking mess, talking about win. You must not know. So we got a new linebacker coach. Yeah, we got us some backers. if you guys look at this roster, which on Saturday we can go through the whole roster if you want to, but I'm just telling you right now, it ain't looking too good for it ain't looking too good for the SWAC. It ain't looking too good for the SWAC. Let me just show you our quarterback room. Our quarterback room alone. Good Lord. Have mercy. Look at our quarterback. That alone. Shh. How you gonna fix it? You just don't know. Cam McCoy, Tyreek Starks, that's the Florida Atlantic transfer. Parker Stofa, dog. Of course, we have our MVP, Celebration Bowl MVP, Jacobian Morgan. And we have Ethan Terrell. I don't know if you guys don't know about Ethan Terrell. He's the future and the face of Jackson State football. And not only that, do you know how many offensive linemen that he bought with him that was already here and that he bought with him? You got Devin Love, who is from Louisville High School. You have Quay Davis, who is from Louisville High School. You got one more. I forgot the other one. No, I didn't. I didn't forget it, but I just, basically, they've been playing for how many years? Let me get that other offensive lineman for you. Xavion Davis. Okay, Quay's little brother. Yeah, so you have Quay, Ziggy, and Devin Love. Those are from Louisville High School. A championship type program. You feel me? It ain't looking good for Southern. It ain't. But let me show you guys something. You guys might have a way out. Because this young man is definitely coming to the HBCU spaces, depending on how this shapes. Tulane quarterback TJ Finley was arrested allegedly. No, it wasn't alleged. He was arrested and basically something dealing with a stolen car. So he was arrested and suspended from Tulane, right? So if you are looking for a quarterback, he might be available. We talking now, mind you, I want to say, were we trying to get TJ Finley at Jackson State and he chose Texas State? He was arrested and suspended because they something with the car and the VIN number, it didn't match, and so he was arrested on a stolen vehicle. Keep him with those Sunbeam teams. TJ can kick rocks. Anyway, if you need a quarterback, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be available soon. Merlin, you are so delusional. It don't even make sense. You don't even believe what you're saying. All right. And running back? Oh my God. All right. We know Travis Terrell doesn't need no type of introduction, right? Have you Nate Blount? Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Look. See, this is the thing. Jackson State was so loaded last year that it's kind of like, wait till you see what else we have. Wait till you see what else we have. Like, our running back room is so loaded, it's not even funny. And you know, Irv, we have to give 1,000 yards rushing. You have to give Irv his accolades, right? I think one thing that's dynamic about Jackson State, I'm not trying to brag or boast, is the fact that our offensive coordinator, shout out to Coach TC Taylor, is has a dynamic offense that he adjusts to the game. Meaning, if it's a game where we need to throw more, we'll throw more. If it's a game where we need to run more, we're going to run more. If it's going to be a balanced offense, it's going to be a balanced offense. Like, the fact that folks are hanging their head on one running back, are you serious? This young man didn't even get his first touchdown was last year. Oh, we got Ahmad Miller, who's going to be back in the fold. But Amari Matthews is a batting ram. He used to play for Prime at Trinity Christian High School. So, you know, Amari Matthews, Ahmad Miller, Bryson Moss, Donario Davenport, Nate Blount, Desmond Moultrie, and Travis Terrell. And good Lord. We're taking it. We're taking it. You don't even want to go. You don't even want to go with the wide receivers. You do not even want to start with the wide receivers. Like, can you even name 4 or 5 of your receivers from last year that's going to be returning this year? I bet you can't. First of all, we took Nathan from Valley. Nathan Rembert. That's 1,000-yard receiving wide receiver on the roster. That doesn't even include Isaiah Spencer. Jonas Fortillion, like Kobe Paul. Lord have mercy. We're stacked at wide receiver, stacked at tight end, stacked at running back. Our quarterbacks are stacked. Our offensive line, it's going to be interesting to be able to see what this new they're not necessarily new, okay? A lot of these offensive linemen were already here on the roster, and some played first, some played second, and there were times where the first and second interchangeably, you didn't see any drop off. But it will be interesting to see what our offensive line looks like without Evan Henry, without Kurt Ford on that line. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like. But I'm confident because 3 of the offensive linemen have been playing since even before high school, right? 3 of them. So those are the 3, and they were playing for a championship caliber, high school team, which is Louisville High School. If you guys don't know about Louisville High School football, you need to look it up. I wouldn't even look at the signee list anymore. I would look and focus on the 2025 football roster, because that is where you're going to see some shedding. That is where you're going to know where the most available student athletes are. If they're not on this roster, on the spring roster, then that means that they weren't in spring football, which of course we should be seeing some transfers from spring to summer. We'll see some of those transfers coming in, but I'm excited to see it. Of course, we had Evan Henry not playing as center. So we already have our center, because I want to say Evan Henry was playing right guard, I believe, he was playing right guard, I believe, this year. So, you know, Crook, Moultrie, and Matthews. I've not heard much about wide receivers, Rico Powers or Fabian McRae. So Rico Powers is still on there. I mean, I just named the wide receivers from last year that were significant during the season. Rico and Fabian and I believe Kobe were injured last year. So that's why I highlighted the Ethan Terrell, Isaiah Spencer, Jonas Fortillion. That's why I was highlighting them. Jukebox stay getting embarrassed. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of folks don't want to admit it, but we are light years ahead. In terms of our long snapper, Avery Salerno received FCS accolades this past season for being a long snapper. And our linebackers are back. So we do lose some heavy hitters, of course. They've completed their pro day, but I am confident that the team is running it back. You ain't gonna be able to tell me different. Y'all are still trying to get y'all stuff together. Light years ahead. Yes, Mr. Moore. Light years ahead. Light years ahead. You know why I say light years ahead? Because while we over here, kicking it, Southern football is asking folks to drop their film. Sutton was making that request. That's why I said we're light years ahead. Southern football just said, hey, y'all want to come play for us? What does that mean? Y'all still trying to put those pieces together, huh? And the way we whooped up on Southern, and then when we went to the championship game and we didn't even study film, and our defensive coordinator said same team, I would say that's definitely light years ahead, no? The gap is very wide. I'll say that. No diddy. And Southern has to be worried about Prairie View this year. Southern, Jackson State is the least of your worries. I mean, yeah, we're going to whoop up on you for the Boombox Classic. But, all the other stuff, we're the least of your worries. You have Prairie View coming through. And that man said he's not here to play. He's here to win. He wants to go to Atlanta. And I believe that he's going to be able to get it done. Yep. Here it is right here. Drop your film. Dang, they got a lot of feedback. Almost 100,000 views. Y'all getting it. Drop your film. Sir Ladarius, we did not beg a Tennessee State player to come. A college transfer portal, you have to get the story right, okay? A college transfer portal page that purposely puts out false information about who's transferring, I'm guessing to get impressions. He said that a Tennessee State player had committed to Jackson State. So then, of course, we're going to repost it and put it on there. And I specifically said, to myself, I said, they're wrong a lot. Like, a lot of times they're wrong. But if you would like to come play for thee, come be a Tiger again. Because Tennessee State did win their prospective conference. Hell, Ladarius, you should be looking over there. Southern needs to go over there and look at some of them Tennessee State players. Y'all, if you're from Jackson State, comment the over and under. Is it going to be over 4 or over 5? Jackson State players that do enter into the portal, how many different SWAC teams do you think are going to offer them? You think it's going to be over, under, or over? The line is 5. You think it's going to be over or under for the amount of SWAC teams that offer our student athletes that decide to make a change and go into the transfer portal? Do you think it's going to be over or under for them offering? I say over. I'm not even going to lie to you. I ain't even going to hold you. I really think it's going to be over. Jackson State will have 17 to 20 players in the portal. Well, Ladarius, if our spring roster is already at 92, of course we're going to have players in the portal because you have to make room for the other. So stop playing. Stop playing like y'all not going to be offering Jackson State players. Don't do that. They might talk about the transfer portal, but for Jackson State, the Jackson State football players, if you go into the transfer portal, you might not want to go there, but I guarantee you there's going to be a SWAC team that's going to offer you. Uh-oh. See, this is what I love. The smack talk has begun. It's not even football season. It's just practice. Practice? We talking practice? Where's Zion McDonald? You didn't offer him? He went in the portal a long time ago. Who cares? We want football. Mr. Haynes, what I suggest you do is you got to tell the mailman that his stuff came back undeliverable. You can't be over here talking about mailing stuff and getting stuff to arrive, giving all these long speeches, and then getting whooped up and only scoring 1 touchdown.
How you gonna fix it? You done messed me up the jobless visit. I done called the police because I'm doing a refund. A refund is due unto me.
All right, I'm done, y'all. I'm done. I will see you guys on Saturday. See y'all Saturday night. Y'all think we should have a sipping SWAC Saturday? You think we should have a sipping SWAC Saturday? When am I going over the SWAC schedules? So Saturday we can do a way too early ranking. A way too early ranking. We can start doing the schedules. But I want to see what some of y'all got. That's the thing that I want to do. I want to know who's your quarterback. You know, you want to give people the chance to kind of like look at your roster and see what you're going, what you're working with, and what you need. I know Kobe Dillon is, ain't Kobe Dillon from Southern? I could have sworn Kobe Dillon was from Southern. He's still looking for a place to go. He don't even want to play for you no more. Running back. Merlin. You over here worried about Irv. Irv left because he graduated and he's going to his pro day and he's going to go to the draft. Kobe Dillon left because he don't want to be on the team no more. I think Kobe, let me see where did he get an offer at. We're not the same. Okay? Oh, I didn't know this. See, that's what happens when you over the talking mess. He has not okay, these are the offers that Kobe Dillon has. You know who needs to offer him? Sutton, Alcorn, Grambling, Texas Southern, Alabama A&M, Prairie View, Lamar University, and LA Tech. Kobe Dillon has received interest from numerous schools. He holds Southern's SWAC game record of 267 rush yards. Damn, y'all must not have had a quarterback that game. And he holds the Southern season rushing holder of 800 rush yards. So y'all lost y'all top running back. He is looking for another home, and 9 times out of 10, he's going to be at another school in the SWAC. He's a May grad transfer. So let that sizzle in your spirit while you over here talking mess. So we're going to definitely do spring games, and y'all be on the lookout because I'm going to post the video where Mr. Ford said that FAMU was soft in the middle last year after he watched their spring game. It was funny. So that's why I'm posting it. And he was basically saying, FAMU looked a little soft in the middle. I will be posting it because it was funny. Okay, and bring y'all wine, your Gatorade, your water, your holy water, whatever your drink of choice is for Saturday. We're going to do a sip and see. That's what we should do, a sip and see. We're going to do a sip and see on Saturday. Y'all have a good night. I've had some good days.
I've had some good days. And some sleepless nights. But when I look around, and I think things over, all of my good days outweigh my bad days. The clouds hang low. I can hardly see the road. I ask the question, Lord. Lord, why so much pain? But He knows what's best for me.
SWAC